what would really make this almost perfect evening perfect is that after I tell my story, one more person who didn't come here all the way from the Boston contingent gets up here and gives it a try, because that was some really great storytelling.
Yeah.
Our favorite part of coming on the road is getting to hear your stories. So, this is a traditional folk tale. It's my version, but there's a key plot point that came from, it's a story that appears in all sorts of cultures. And this plot point came from a Spanish version, from a very, very old folk tale book for the Day of the Dead. And it is Death and the Storyteller. There was a girl who didn't want to marry. Her parents said to her, "We're sorry, but we can't support you. So if you won't find a man to do it, you have to go out and make your own way in the world." She went out and she made her own way in the world. And she made it as a storyteller. Now I have to tell you, long ago in this strange time, in this strange place, you may find it very hard to believe, but storytellers, and in fact all artists, were not well paid. So she was poor and she was hungry, and yet she was free. She came to the market square and she was telling stories, and she saw in her audience La Muerta herself, tall, handsome Lady Death. And after the stories, Lady Death came up to her and told her how much she appreciated a good tale, and said she had a job offer. "Oh no," said the girl, "I'll have nothing to do with your business." "You don't know the half of my business," said Lady Death. "I need no help collecting souls, but I am also a master healer. There is no one who knows the body and the spirit as well as I. The job I have for you is that I can teach you to be a doctor of skill beyond belief." Well, that was a bargain she was willing to make, and they shook on it. And here's how it worked. The girl would be taught to be a doctor of such skill that all she had to do was lay hands on her patient and they would be healed. But death came on every call. Were death to be standing at the foot of the patient's bed, that patient belonged to the doctor who could heal her as she wished. Were death to be standing at the head of the patient's bed, that patient belonged to death. So it went, and it went well. The storyteller became a doctor of great renown, and it went such that when the only son of the king fell ill, he ordered this famous doctor to be brought before him. And he said to her, "You will heal my son, and when you do, you may request of me anything up to half of my kingdom. But beware, for if you should fail, the day of his death will be the day of yours." Well, that doctor strut into that room with all the swagger befitting her successful position. And there was Lady Death at the head of the prince's bed. What to do? Well, with a few quick words to the king's guards, that bed was turned around like that. And with death at the foot of the prince's bed, she laid her hands upon him and healed him completely. In all the hubbub and celebration, nobody noticed the doctor, who was escorted off the premises by a tall, handsome woman. "I will have you," said Lady Death, "for I cannot take the soul of the prince, but your death warrant was sealed the moment I entered that room. For the day of his death was that day, and now it is the day of yours." She brought the doctor, who had been the storyteller, to a room that had shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf of oil lamps. and showed her which one was hers, and that there was only an hour's worth left in it. "Well then," said the doctor, who was no longer a doctor, but still a storyteller, "may I tell you a story with my last hour?" Death had loved her stories. "Yes, tell." And she told a story. She told a brilliant story, a story of such length, of such complexity and intricacies, that Death could see beyond the shelves upon shelves upon shelves of lamps that were people's souls, and out into the world, across the seas and over the mountains, and to the mountains that were beneath the seas, out into space, back into the past and forward to the future, into your window, and yours, and into your heart. And Death could see worlds that hadn't existed until the storyteller made them so. And while Death was doing all of this seeing, there was something Death didn't see. The storyteller picked up the oil jug from the ground and refilled her lamp drip by drip by drip, until that flame burned so brightly and so strong, it burns to this day. And what did she ask of the king? Nothing much, just a trifle. That she should be able to continue to tell her stories, with her salary paid in full, forever and ever.